Welcome back to Show Me the Money at Rugby League TV. We have a brand new special show which is going to cover some of the rumours going around in rugby league circles. We are going to call it the Rumour Mill. So with myself, with Craig and Joe, we're going to look at a number of transfers.
Whoa. This could be live, Mick. Hello?
Craig, how are we doing?
I'm all right, Steve. Oh, God. This is the first time we've ever gone live. This is Steve, who's the director of football at Wakefield.
Are we okay? Is everybody okay that this is on?
Oh, am I on?
Steve, we're on some live.
Come on, I'll be quick. Are we good?
The Neil Chenm deal.
Yes, are we good for Neil?
Steve, we're live. You, my son, have got a deal.
Get in, there we go, mate.
and thank you for what you've done for lad and the faith you've shown, and I hopefully he's given you a bit back. So wow, that's a right start to the show here. We've just got a 3-year deal announced for a young player to further his career at Wakefield.
So if you're a Wakefield fan watching this show right here, right now, Neil Chenm has signed a new 3-year deal at Wakefield Trinity. Steve, just quickly, for those Wakefield fans who'll be watching this, what qualities does Chenm have, and what you're looking forward in this 3 years that is going to be working under yourself and with the Wakefield club and, of course, Darryl Powell?
Yeah, Neil's a bit different, obviously, with his height, and he's going to add to the game, add to his game, consistently. You know, we've seen an improvement with him in the last couple of months of being with us, so we're real high hopes for him, and we believe he'll be a big success here.
And when you look at Wakefield, just quickly, you look at players like Ollie Pratt, Darryl Powell, not afraid to use these young players and give them those opportunities.
Yeah, no,
I'm the hooker.
It's a big thing for us. You know, we're going to back these young players to come through and give them opportunity. That's the big thing, especially for Neil, is giving them the opportunity to succeed and give them opportunities to play. So, you know, he's got a lot of work to do on his own game, but we definitely get opportunity at the club, and we're looking forward to it.
Wow. Well,
there we go. Thanks for that, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for small. Be good, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, we were just starting the show. We're saying it's a brand new show. It is known.
Well, it's still inside of the deal, though, Mick.
Inside the deal, yeah. The rumour mill, inside the deal. We're gonna, but the sort of context for anybody who's watching it, I've got some rumours that I've heard. Some are confirmed, some might not be, and obviously Craig knows some of what I'm going to throw at him, and there's some that he might not know. Same with Joe, but obviously Neil Chenm, it might not be a name, Craig, that the rugby league fans outside of Wakefield, outside of Leeds, wherever he's been, might not know about him. But you've just heard what Steve Mills has said regarding him and his quality and attributes and how excited he is to have got this deal over the line. Give us your thoughts as the agent side.
Do you know what? This is a little bit on development and belief as an agent. Joe will know how much, and total faith in Neil. And he started at Leeds, and he actually ended up playing for England, scored a hat-trick actually against France, and he was told at Leeds that he not saying he wasn't required, but they just certainly never offered him a new deal, which I couldn't believe. Neil's nearly 98 kg and he's 6'5". It's a background in basketball. He's a bit like Dan O'Connor, what we said earlier on, played developer as such, even though he's done so much really. We went to KR and they loved him at KR as things, but there wasn't opportunity for him. Simple. I made a phone call to Wakey and said, I think he's something special, and I think you've short of wingers, and I think there's an opportunity here. So they did the swap at Wakey with trying to think of the old guy.
Noah Booth
went the other way. I don't know if anybody knows about this. So both clubs were happy to do that. Both reputations on the line, Mick. I've got my reputation on the line against Neil doing well, and good luck to Noah. I'm sure it is, but a lot of people have not wrote Neil off, but because he needs the development. Well, I'm sure Steve's ringing there, because at the weekend he did he played against Warrington. They got beat in the reserves. Neil did 151 metres. Wow. Scored a try where it looked like Michael Jordan were one-handed. There were quite a lot of people. I know Warrington straight after the game made an inquiry. don't know how Wakey got to know about that inquiry. Somebody might have told him, just to get the deal done a bit quicker. There was definitely some substance to it. He played his first game for Gould 2 weeks ago and had a fantastic debut. Scott Taylor absolutely loves him. I'll tell you now, there's a famous clip on Harry Redknapp saying this about Frank Lampard.
I've seen it.
Right,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to tell you something now. This kid will go all the way.
Wow.
This kid will be a top player, and he'll do things in our game that'll be very exciting. And all he needed was a bit of belief, and he needs coaching, and he needs a bit of arm round him. But the biggest thing we need for young talent, Joe will tell you this, opportunity. They've got to be able to play. Ollie Pratt's doing what he's doing at Wakey because he got given 25 games last year. Simple as. They'll tell you, okay? Any of you who's round Ollie say, he got the opportunity to play in the Championship, to play loads of games. You're now seeing the emergence of a top talent. I'll put this way, Neil Chenm will be a top talent. And I'm even saying, as high as you can, quite high, as high as what I think it'll shock a few.
Wow, well, what a start to the Inside the Deal rumour mill show with myself, Craig, and Joe. Another rumour confirmed, not sure. We're hearing James Bell, Joe Batchelor to Hull FC.
I think it's been reported, Matt Shaw, maybe Matt Shaw's reputation on the line. Mick, I know you caught him out last week, or Danny Maguire.
Well, I don't think.
Whoa, no, you never caught him out. Don't bring that one up, Matt. He talked to me for 4 days. For God's sake, don't bring that up.
I don't think I caught him out. It was Danny Maguire that quoted it and said not true. And
they've had chats privately and sorted that out. Easy.
I mean, I've had a few of them in my time, so I know how it feels. I know how Matt's feeling. His pride will be dented and. You know, all them Salford fans who, look, let me just say, there were a few that got their own back. But yeah, this isn't about coaches calling journalists out. This is about Joe Batchelor and James Bell at Hull FC. Are we going to say true, thumbs up, green tick? Any truth in these rumours that James Bell and Joe Batchelor are going to be part of the Cartwright revolution at Hull FC? Craig's got thumbs up.
That think's true.
Batchelor and Bell are going. They're on the transfer now to Hull as we speak.
If put Matt Shaw's reputation, he normally don't put it out unless confirmed, so I'll go true. It's not announced by anyone yet, so it'd be interesting if it's not.
Why would you think Hull be looking in these quarters at Batchelor and Bell?
Well, one reason, obviously there's another rumour going about that Jordan, I think Matt Shaw, another one.
Well, that's on my list. I have got a list, so we'll cover that one.
Jordan Lane might be on the way out if true. Obviously 1 + 1 = 2, and they are a second rower possibly leaving and then more second rowers coming in. I think they've just identified it as a place where they need to freshen up. Joe Batchelor's obviously had his time at Saints. I think the Saints, probably similar to if Laney leaves, it's I think a similar vibe where the players and fans probably at the point where they need the change of each other. I know Saints fans were saying, he's getting a bit older when the rumour got put out, and Batchelor's been a fantastic player for multiple years, and he's still got a couple of...
Money baller,
still
massive.
got years back in. James Bell, very similar crack, where money baller, someone who, when every time he gets put in, plays very well, great effort, always struggled to cement his place, I feel like, in that team. And so probably both looking to be starters, and not only be starters like in where they might get a few games at Saints, or Batchelor obviously gets more now, but on the way out. I think both looking to cement themselves as definitive starters on a team where hopefully Hull FC are going where they're growing and growing each year. I think it's exciting for players, exciting for fans. Sometimes they just need a change, Mick. Like I said, I think Dad will cover the Laney one. Sometimes you need a change, and Batchelor's probably coming at the time from the things where it needs a change. James Bell's looking to have a couple of years as a definitive starter and probably leave his some DNA onto a team and actually let him have a bit more say and a bit more go over what goes on in a team, which he never really been given at Saints. He gets put in after the Knowlesy, after them, and tries to look good, which he's always done. So it'll be interesting to see him at Hull FC, if that is true.
For the people, Craig, who are watching this, obviously Joe's just said, we've seen the rumours, it's on my list. Jordan Lane leaving Hull FC, going to Castleford Tigers for next year. Batchelor, Bell going to Hull FC. For the benefit of the viewers who are watching this, how close is this player goes there, that player then goes there, clubs are all talking to one another.
Happens all the time.
In terms of a chain, how how similar is it to I'm buying Joe's house, Joe's buying Sam's house, Sam's buying your house. We're all buying each other's houses. But if one of those, me buying Joe's house doesn't happen, then Joe buying Sam's buying yours, etc. falls through. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
Great question, Mick. I like that. Great question.
I'm putting my journalist head on here.
99% of the time, unless there's loads of cap space, then it doesn't matter. I'd say with the way Hull are spending and big intentions, it would have been listen, one thing for sure, Hull offered Laney. You know, I can't go into what happened then and whether it's thing or not. They were fantastic with Jordan, absolutely immense with him, but they would have protected themselves at all times and had 2 or 3. And you usually get the club director would say, or whoever's director of football would say, listen, you've got a time frame. You've got Wakefield pushed that one through just now because you've got to be careful of other interest. So if some timing's everything, if you have a player and you as an agent to put him to 5 clubs, yeah. And on the Sunday, Joe, if you ever saw what an agent did at weekend, and I'd love to video it.
Well, you've kind of said on the full 80, you've got a laptop.
Well, until someone knew the password. Yeah, it was. But you are up, and once your man goes in, and you're out of contract, and your man's just scored a 30-yarder, you're running around, you're waiting for your phone to ring, or you're texting the director of football, and if you want it proper, F you, he's already gone, you're fucking delayed. If he's had a nightmare, misses 3 tackles, you shit, oh shit, and you're trying to get yourself out of there. It is that type of thing. If you're passionate about your job, a lot of people are not we're passionate about being agents. We have a Sunday night phone call that can be, what a great weekend. Oh my God. And then it's that. So I've seen players, I said to them, the famous one would have been Truey at Wigan. I have never had a drive in a car like that. I don't know how anybody else can get the feeling of you telling a club that you think you've got something special, and on his debut at 18 he scores 3 tries, and you're just got I just sat there, I've gone straight to the pub, 10 pound, I am absolutely electric.
You're on top of the world.
100%.
Because you've backed what you've seen in Jake Truman at 16, 17 at Bradford, and then yeah. So
it's essential. Cap space is essential. I think more clubs should shift their cap space. I had a club speak to me yesterday and they said, what can we do? We can't offer this young player you've got this because we've got no cap space. I said, move some players. You've got fucking 5 players you're not going to play. Move them. A lot of tight teams are reluctant to have that conversation. Me as director of football, easiest conversation of all time. Listen, it's not personal. We need that cap space. We'll get you a payout, or we've got this club. Make it happen quick. If you see the famous Show with the Money one, when he says to Brad Pitt says to Lando, I can't remember actor, it's fantastic, and he says, how do I do it? He said, do it quick. Do it quick, do it this size, and make it thingy. So I can't give you the full thing on Mr. Lane. It's the club's official to do things like that. Cracking lad, cracking club, and no but respect for Hull. Unbelievable.
On a positive for Hull FC, because obviously some Hull FC fans might be, well, we are losing Jordan Lane, but you are getting Joe Batchel, James Bell. They have retained Lewis Martin. How important and vital is that one? And how was that contract?
I'll give you a funny one. I'll give you a funny one, a quick one. We got a phone call at weekend, and it was from a top Aussie club, and
NRL.
Yes, and it said, do you have the Hull winger? So I've gone, yeah. It didn't mean ours, it meant other one. So I would say the 2 essential keys are Lewis Martin and Harvey.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Again, I'm going to speak up for Rich Miley. Couldn't be more respectful towards the offer. The lad, he would have had massive interest. Massive interest. He wasn't out of contract. He still had 2 years to go. They've improved him. They haven't tried to fudge him or shortchange the kid. They've done I can't knock it. The old clubs are both very good at this. Now, to be fair to them, they're not trying to cut you all the time. They seem to be doing it the right way. Milo wants to make, and Ferkel want to make this club massive with the backer they've got as well. They're doing the right things. I would have said them two, if you can get them, if it's true they're both been announced.
They've both been announced.
For me, they're the biggest. Forget about the other rumours. These two, a top 3 coach said to me, and I've said it already on the last show, they've got the best 2 young wingers in the comp. Everybody knows that. They would have been rocking our ship. He's done the right thing. Get them tied up. Get them tied up for a long period. Fantastic business. And there was very fair with the player. I think, if I'll be honest, Lewis's comment was, getting there. He was totally behind it, and he is committed to the club. So fantastic.
We're moving on. Another one of the rumours that I have picked up upon, or certainly heard in this wonderful world which we call Rugby League. Matty Lees, hearing that he's staying at St Helens, but there was rumours Warrington were in with the money, and Sam Burgess was certainly confident at one stage that that deal would have seen Matty Lees go from St Helens to Warrington. Is there any truth in that?
Why are you looking at me?
Well, you're going to answer. Do you want me to
No,
answer?
that's you.
Give me a look there as if, I would say 100%.
Warrington were in for him?
100%.
Why don't you think it's ultimately happened?
I think Saints have had to put the pen to dry and to keep him. If it's true, I don't know if they've announced this. So again, we're going to be careful. I don't want all. Please, clubs, don't be coming on. It's a bit of fun. It promotes the thing. It gives people an excitement. Don't be doing fucking heading with your own personal shit. If it's true that Morgan Knowles, and I think it has been announced, has gone to the NRL with the Dolphins, I would have said George Delaney, and the first 2 people there to keep were George Delaney and Matty Lees.
Yes.
So I'd have said both players, as we do George. I'm sure Matty's agent would have been going, wow, and they'd have had to do everything they could. If Saints don't finish in top 3 this year, imagine what the fans are going to do if they want recouping the best players. They'd be murders, wouldn't they? So, do you know sometimes clubs sign players, and I swear this is true, Mick, and I think I'm mad, but I'm going to tell you next. Sometimes they do sign it on the supporters' view and the social media view.
I know that's true.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary that you would have an opinion because they don't want to let the fans. They'll say, to be honest with you personally, I don't think it's this, but
I know that
the fans are going to lynch us. I always think if you're paying somebody to be a director of football, he has to. I hope it's not another deal, Mick. If it is, I'll die. I think that's got to be your job, Mick. No one would influence me if I were there. I would say, you're paying me to do this job. Great business if Saints have done it. Massive for the game. Bigger than the game. Massive for Super League. Because otherwise, if it won't Warrington, you know where else they've gone. I know at least 2 or 3 NRL clubs have gone for Matty.
Yes.
Strong. And I always thought, I don't think we're going to have the cap space, but they absolutely love Matty. Love him. So he would have had serious interest. And Joe will tell you this as well as me. If you're a young prop, and you are going to earn serious money if you can get into that 100 games of Super League. That is if you want to say what music you want to be into to be popular, prop's the popular one. I'm telling you, it's rocking our shit. I'm telling you now, if you've got a chance of going, the Aussies only want props, so you bring your all time, not only, wrong thing for me to say, but the first question is, any of them English props? All the top clubs in the academy are not getting these props through. So if you are somebody, let's say what Joe had with a Cora at the weekend, if Dan can string 20 games together, Mick, at that level, the world's your oyster. So your Matty Lees, oh my God, your Mikulecki's.
Yeah, the stocks.
You're not going to let them go anywhere, are you?
No. And just a quick one, not really hearing much more on Warrington, but they clearly have the money man and the financial backing to go in for Matty Lees. Are you hearing anything on whether they might be looking or?
No, I've said that Warrington are always looking. I think Warrington are one of them clubs who are always looking to do business, always looking to improve. They've had a little change the last 18 months, haven't they? They're playing a lot more youth and they're relying on.
Compared to Sam,
Sam's DNA seems to be different to what the checkbook.
Yeah.
So I'd say Warrington, if they have got cap space, what's the space? If you're a top young prop, they'll be, they if they're in for a prop and they didn't get Matty, they're going to spend it somewhere else, aren't they? Let's hope they spend it in England and not.
Yes.
You know, for fans listening for first time to Inside the Deal or what we do, I think there's got to be loads of exchanges and movement, because I think the game only survives if it's football's brilliant, isn't it? Because there's loads of different rules. Rugby league, sometimes we get very negative, dour people who say, oh, he's moved. So what? That's business. You've had 16 jobs since you were a DJ at 18. You've had 16 jobs. You've not lasted 2 weeks on any of them. Stop.
I've had a near 4-year residency in Skipton.
You've had a lot of jobs though, haven't you?
I've been doing it a long time. I normally get poached. That's the issue that I have. I have other venues wanting to.
Oh, well, I could have said that. I wish you'd said that. I feel bad now.
You're making it out I'm going from pillar to post. I get poached.
Right.
Yes.
Sorry. Can you just go back to that bit? I'll say.
No, we'll leave it in. It's fine. You've apologised.
There you go.
Joe's actually been to see me. He's seen me get Leeds rocking on a Saturday night.
We went into Leeds City Centre. So
I'm a man of many talents. I'm not just a broadcast journalist.
So
and
if
a
you're
commentator.
a rugby league player, who could be described as who's had 18 moves? John Bateman?
John Bateman's had a lot of clubs, haven't he?
Who else has had that many moves if you've had?
As many as I've had.
If you said you've been poached.
No, I said I get offers of poachment. People want me to go here, there and everywhere, but I'm very loyal.
Got you.
Yes.
Apologies,
Loyalty is hard to find. Obviously, we've spoken about Morgan Knowles to Redcliffe. How disappointed the Saints going to be with that one? Is there anything that Mike Rush and Paul Wellens and the Saints hierarchy could have done, or is this that burning ambition Morgan Knowles, NRL comes calling, I want to test myself with the best of the best?
I'd have thought Wolfie going there from Saints would have took 3 or 4. I'm surprised it took this long. That's me. Whether that's respect,
it's a very slow burner.
If that's respect from Wolfie to Mike Rush, I would say a bit of that. But I actually was not scared for the game, but I thought it might have took. I thought there'd have been 3 or 4 gone. That's the first. So it's bad for our game. It's fantastic, but good on him, Mick. It's probably earning. I don't know what he'll be paid. 800,000 Australian. I mean,
it's a no-brainer.
Come on. You left. Back to you again. If you got offered a gig
I mean, look,
£400 a night.
Manchester comes ringing Mick, the top.
No, I must confess, money isn't everything. So I don't drive, so the transport and where I'm going to be is obviously vital. But yeah, I understand it. If let's just say, there's an offer you can't refuse. You can't. Refuse. Yeah,
does he owe Saints anything? He owes them that. They were very thinking. He gives Saints everything.
Yes.
I think the Saints fans would be chucked to death for him, don't you? I think deep down, sometimes when Gaz Ellis left Leeds, there wasn't much anger around when he went. They want, and he became a legend at Tigers.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it. I think if Ryan Hall, when he went, there'd have been claps. They'd have said, you know what, Ryan, you're going to give Roosters a go. You've been amazing for us. I don't think there's anger in fans when they give the corn. I think it's anger in fans when you get one who has 2 years and he goes, I'm off. And you go, wait a minute, you haven't done out here, you haven't created anything here. Do you get me?
No, I get it. I
like to think rugby league fans are quite respectful when somebody gives them 10 years.
Let us know in the comments if you're enjoying this Inside the Deal rumour mill. If you want more types of show like this, like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Fletcher Rooney, Castleford Tigers, that's been done, signed, sealed, delivered, out there. Wow, this is a big one for Castleford based on his performances in those opening 4 rounds. Craig's just said previously on the full 80, he thinks Danny at some stage might have to just pull him back, but wow, the world's the oyster. I know we said when we did the preview show, if he does the games, he will be in that young Super League Player of the Year territory, which will be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, Mick, I think he's been brilliant, hasn't he? I think at times, Cass over the last 5 or 6 years have struggled get with that process, haven't they? I don't think they're struggling anymore. I'll give Danny Wilson a load of credit, who gets a bit of stick, but Danny Wilson was integral to getting the deal done as quick and as thing. He knew we wanted to get Fletch signed up. He knows he wants to get a few of the young prospects at Castleford signed up, and he's gone out, gone and done it for Fletch. He's given him a contract that we mentioned a couple of, about a month and a half ago on the show now, that's structured in a way to where the more he plays, the more he earns, and I think obviously he's getting the games in now nice and early, and as we've said, he's exciting. He just loves Cass and he loves rugby. One of them young lads, as we've said before, some of the young players don't watch rugby, they don't have that love for rugby, they've just been good at it and just thought, well, I can make a career out of it. Fletch loves rugby in and out, he'll watch all the games, he just loves playing, whether that was for the college team 2 years ago or whether it's for the first team, he does not give a monkeys, he's just happy playing his rugby and playing it obviously now at a really good standard. Great dad in Jamie, never encouraged it all the way, knows it's a good place for him. As we said, opportunities there at Cass. They're having the youth development movement now. So when fans are getting restless, well, you've seen Fletch, you've got Jensen in the wings waiting, you've got players like Akeem. The transition's happening. It's gonna take a while naturally, but yeah, I think Fletch is happy. Everyone, that Danny Wilson would, like I said, brilliant. Magsy and Fletch have a very good relationship there, and Fletch rings me all the time. He's learning loads. He's excited about where his career's going to go. Fletch is so determined as a kid, and he's been one of them that you might think, other clubs are poaching. He loves Cass. He's going to give it his all. He's going to be a Morgan Knowles for Cass. He's going to be a Cass. As long as they keep progressing from this point onwards and show moves and show direction that they're getting better at, Fletch is going to be at it all the way. And good on him. He's a great lad. I couldn't be happier for him.
On him, Joe, there were rumours OKR Leeds looking at him. Was there interest? How's this deal come? Is it because of he started the season so well, he's now getting game time? Castleford cautious to want to secure.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that, but it's been in the works a little bit. And I think I'll give Danny Wilson all the credit. He wants to wrap these. It's a 5-year deal. It's not technically a 5-year deal because one of them's including this year that he's in, so it's technically a 4-year deal in terms of.
It's a very good safety net for Castleford, is the deal in terms of the length.
Brilliant for Cass. Like I said, it'll be 23, but he's still young. He's just come out of the academy this year. Danny Wilson wants to get that core base of Cass players signed up and staying with him a while. Again, another thing they've struggled at. There's players from Cass. We've joked on it before. Quite a few clubs where you're like, how's he? He's from Cass. How's he there? How's he there? No. So that's coming. They're attempting to put that all to a stop. Cass players now playing for Cass, and they're going to be treated right, and hopefully, obviously, the money side it will be good for Fletch as well, to where it'll just a good easy deal all along. Good thing, like I said, normally you worry about longer term deals, but as long as it's right, the progression's in there for him. The more he plays, the more he'll earn, and hopefully ends up in a great position with Cass growing, with Magsy, with Danny Willow, them all going for this youth movement in 3 or 4 years. So it just makes sense. And as we've always said, to simplify it, where you're going to get the most game time, Fletch, the place that love you, the place that give you the opportunity, and the place that hopefully I think he should be the starting fullback, won't he, for years to come now. And I think that can't be said for many other young lads in other places.
I don't think. Thanks for that, Joe. I don't think there's any way Cass can't sign him. I think Cass, if they want to be where they're going, had to make a signing like that. Had to extend it. Danny Wilson's made it clear to me and Joe and our company that he's going to, with the backing of Martin, the new owner, they're going to try and get 4 or 5 young players in from other clubs. Props, maybe back rowers, and they're going to develop, alongside what's going off for Danny, they're going to develop a second tier of young players, and then one gets to the top, the tadpole that Rooney goes through and Jensen goes through and this one goes through Akeem and then they're going to keep filling this tank up. If they develop that tank, they'll do it from their own. If not, they're going to bring young players in. Yeah. You'll see 4 or 5 moves in it next month on Cass, which shall be to fill this tank up before they get through. So Cass will be a very exciting place to be recruiting in the near future, in my opinion.
Wow. Well, from the Super League down to the Championship, this one has been out a couple of weeks, but we didn't discuss it on the full 80 minutes. Liam Tyndall to the London Broncos, and oh boy, what a debut, what a start to try, and that victory over Featherstone Rovers. Talk us through this one, Craig, because it has started the season at Bradford, certainly in a sort of training sense. He had that pre-season game for Bradford. Obviously, there was a deal at Bradford, which wasn't quite right, and I think that's fair to say that. But London Broncos,
I think Bradford were fair, wasn't they? Bradford offered him a deal, but they said they didn't know, in their opinion, whether he'd be a starter or whether it'd be. That's
correct.
What they
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
So
that was the conundrum.
No negative on Bradford.
No. No, that's what I'm saying. It was.
Him and Rocky Hampshire were two worries for me. Him and Ryan. I had 3 players left, so I can give you all 3. Lewis Roberts. We can do that first. Lewis Roberts to Midlands. I thought I had Lewis Super League club, and I didn't know this. Somebody's told me Lewis gets a lot of stick online about what he did at Leeds. I'm telling you now, what a fucking sort of swearing. How can anybody watch his thingies on a lad on 30,000 quid develop at Leeds in 19 games he played, or whatever he played, 15 in 2 years, was magnificent. They were playing against top 4 clubs. I don't know what people think. Are they comparing him to Ashanley? Is that what they do? Ashanley's better than him. Well, he's supposed to be. There's 160, they're on big money. So the opportunity didn't happen at the Super League club. It got to a stage where Louis, he had to play. He wanted to play. He was missing the game. We were going to stick it out. And then I said, I tell you what, Mark and him rang up, let's get him somewhere, let's get him a club, let's get him playing with a smile on his face. He scored on his debut against Goal. Lewis, a lot of these have got Super League clauses in, Mick. So these players are going there to show the world what they can do.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. There's probably 6 or 10 players we've got in Championship and Champ 1 who have all got clauses.
Yeah.
And the clubs are happy to put the clauses in because they want to see go into that promised land if they achieve it and whatever they've got them at the club. So Lewis Roberts first, Tyndall, again, fantastic deal for Liam. Do you know what? I've never had a bad problem at London with players. They seem to develop better. I don't know what it is. Is it no pressure? Liam's bouncing off the walls. I think he did a 200-metre game on his debut. They're raving about it again. We've got a very fickle place, Rugby League, Michael. Liam Tyndall, every door I opened for Liam Tyndall were closed. Everybody were closed. They suddenly wrote him off from 2 appearances at Hull, one of which he never played for 16 weeks and they put him in first team, then they just judged him. The Liam Tyndall that left Leeds, I had 5 clubs on. The Liam Tyndall who played twice at Hull, there was no. Tells you where the actual detail of what people watch is shocking. Mm-hmm. He's gone London. I have no doubt he'll be back at Super League, but I want to thank London massively. Jimmy Mack, to be fair, Jimmy Mack helped me with that deal more than me. Joe and Jimmy are the kings of the Championship and the Champ. Well, I think Jimmy calls himself the king of the Championship now. I don't know how he can call himself a king if you've not, really, you've got to call it. You're going to call yourself a king, Mick. You have to do at least 1,000 deals. You're going to be able to. I don't think he's at that level, but
is he at the Prince level yet, or is he at the Pauper still?
I think there's a bit of Pauper and Prince in. No. Big thanks to the lads. They do a lot.
Jimmy's the Pauper.
They do a lot. They do a lot of that work for me to put the final touches on it. So big thank you. And the last one, Rocky Hampshire again. Featherstone, so aggressive to get him. So aggressive, grow aggressive. I was like, wow, I'm trying to say to Rocky.
Who was in for him, Craig?
Same again, there'd be no one definitely in for Rocky. The Super League clubs that were interested in, no one pulled the trigger. Wow. So then you sat there, you're thinking, Rocky, how long do you want to do this?
And he's now fit when he was on the show.
He's on the show, he's got another 2 weeks before he's fully fit, but then they came, the offer were great. It was a chance to play with some of his friends and some of his decent human beings, Carlos, stuff like that. For me, that were a good one. Rocky's back on the dance floor. And let's see if he can score 15, 20 tries and run amok and become this player. After yesterday's result, and I watched a bit of the highlights, Featherstone are they've lost James Ford, and they're going to try and rebuild on base on this and that, but Featherstone fans don't like not to be in that top 3, I'll tell you now. And that
as I put on social media, I was still in France, but I was looking at the score, the highlights for Sheffield, very good, putting the highlights out very quickly. Yes, a lot of work there. I have heard, this is what I've heard, and I don't know if you be able to comment on this one, but he is a former player of yours. He actually was Sheffield's man of the match yesterday, Morgan Smith. I'm hearing on the grapevine Featherstone are ready to pull the trigger and take him from Sheffield to Featherstone. Could you see that happening? We know Paddy, the new owner of Featherstone, there is money. Is obviously James Ford's gone, Paul Cook. I don't know if this would be an indicator of panic stations at Featherstone, but they wouldn't have planned to be in the bottom half of the table with just one win from 3 games.
I don't know. I couldn't answer. Morgan been there before, so he would have an affiliation. His granddad were a legend at the club, so that's another affiliation.
I'm just putting it out there. This is one that I've heard. This is one that I've heard over the weekend.
Why would Sheffield let somebody go
who's had such an impact on that game yesterday?
Well, yeah. Again, I'll try and be honest. I can't see that one being as forefront unless there's clauses in every player at Sheffield. But I would have thought the clause of Super League. I've never seen a clause for Championship.
Yeah.
So there'd have to be a fee, and the fee would be surely Sheffield.
I don't.
I've never done a clause for Championship.
No, it's not that. I think there's some clauses in there. I don't know. Obviously, Morgan has them. I think some of them had them in there from the Mark Ashton era, like if Mark leaves, I can leave, sort of thing.
Yeah, which we've seen. We've seen that with Bailey Lou. Yeah,
which you never do.
But that wouldn't apply to Morgan Smith, would it? Because I think he only signed this year, so that'd be an interesting.
Well, Bish left, didn't he? Bish, the big one last week, what went over the line? Well, Bish leaving, which I think Joe's saying must have been that clause, because I would never let. Clubs are crazy. If you put a coach, if you say you're going to go with a coach, that's horrendous. That's either massive bad administration. They should protect the club first, not protecting the coach.
Well,
I don't know if it's for the coach. I don't know. I think there's
it's an interesting one. If it comes true, you heard it here on the show first. If it doesn't happen, it's certainly an interesting one based on that performance by Sheffield at Featherstone yesterday, 19 points to 12 with Morgan Smith. And good to see Jack Walker get a try in that game as well.
Yeah, I rang him last night. We're absolutely overwhelmed. He said he did Carlos on outside, and I didn't believe him until I watched it. I was like, oh, he did. And Carlos got sucked into numbers on his inside, and then by the time Jack got him, he's sensational, Jack. And I think Jack will be back in Super League. I think it's just a matter of playing 10, 15 games.
Jack has the Super League clause in his.
Well, it wouldn't be right on me to say that, but
okay. Some players.
There'll be players, and it's Super League. Like I said, that's different for me. The club get a few quid, and they go Super League. So both parties, I'd go. I've never known anybody ever get a clause for Championship ever.
Interesting. But yeah, good to see Craig Lingard and Sheffield get that win. Liam Watts is a very, very interesting one. I know we're going back to FC in Castleford, but this is one that's obviously come out, and look, we'll say it as it is. There's been a lot of rumours. There's been a bust-up, a fallout with Danny Maguire. I was at a Bradford reserve game friendly a couple of weeks ago, and I put something out on social media, and I just want to try and clarify what I was saying. So I wasn't personally attacking Liam Watts. I wasn't personally attacking anybody. I'm covering that game, and I'm seeing Liam Watts come up against 16, 17-year-old Bradford players. And I know fans have gone, well, Bradford should be playing it. It was a pre-season friendly. It was a reserve pre-season friendly. Ryan Hunkin, Bradford's head of youth, I wanted to give everybody a run out. But what was very, very it was almost like you've got the highlighter, you've highlighted his name on the team sheet. You're watching Liam Watts run on, and he scored a try in it, taking on. It was almost like the big prop in the under-10s where you've got 4 around the legs. He literally carried 4 young Bradford players over the line. But when Bradford come into that game and put a bit of pressure on, he stood behind the post, he's effing and jeffing. And the point about the tweet and the post was, what's Liam Watts getting out of playing 16 and 17-year-old Bradford players? But on to that, are you shocked, surprised this has happened, Craig?
I've been waiting a week to pull you about this, so I hope you don't mind. We're going to get it out. We're going to get it on. You have got to understand this, and people in the game, and you needed to be a duty of care from what you said with this, because we've complained that the reserves has not been competitive and that the players... Let me finish.
This was a pre-season.
No, I know you used that. You didn't use that on the original WhatsApp when we all had a big debate. You said, this is bollocks. This is young kids playing against these older players. Why would they want to do it?
Yeah, I didn't understand it. It doesn't make...
I get you. So let me explain it. For 10 years, we've complained that the reserve comp, that the likes of the first team, is your LAT team, the day, never played reserves. Why should they not be playing reserves? All the clubs agreed, but never adhere to it every year. They don't tell a star player he has to play reserves. They shit themselves. This year, they've all said they're going to adhere to it. The first time Cass do that, you complain that Cass have put their older players. Well, for us to make reserves a competition, the older players have to play. The coaches should protect the younger players. If you haven't got enough players to mix, I want to mix. You ready? I want to mix a top first team player with an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and he'll protect him and vice versa. I want the teams to be mixed.
Yeah, I like that.
We watched a Wakefield fixture against Warrington. I thought it was very young based, both what you're saying, both very young based. You put 2 or 3 older players in there, I'm telling you the difference. And I did it as a footballer. Oh my God, you're playing with an older player and you get a bit of trouble and he goes, here. It's amazing. You might watch him make a run and say, hey, listen, this is not what you're doing. Calm down. We need that. We need the quality, Mick, in that reserve comp to make it what it is. If we don't, I'm telling you, we've got an extended 18s. And God help us again. So, sorry for bringing that up.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I didn't argue on the WhatsApp with you, but I was thinking, I don't know if you're getting what this comp needs to be. As for Liam Watts, I can get this from the horse's mouth. When Danny put the tweet out, a lot of people grabbed it as though there'd been a lot of trouble with him and Watsy, and when I rang him and said, oh, what's this with Watsy? He said, well, I don't understand. Danny were quite black and white, like, we as a club have a certain training thing. We're not going to let anybody dip under that. If Watsy can still, I thought Watsy can still play, he looks cracky, but because he can't train to that level, they feel that it's not fair on the rest of the squad because Watsy's got these, you might say, I'm sure it'll be Brett, won't it? It'll be Delaney at Wrestle Room, will be at it. And he's probably thought, what's he? You're mad. I'm 34. You want me to be sat wrestling with Keem and doing double flip? He's probably made it, and he's probably thought, no, that's Cass said that. That's the bar Cass have said.
Yeah, those are the standards.
They can't go against it now, so that has to go for it. I think it's brilliant on both.
Yeah.
He can go to, and what Danny said was, Hull obviously have got a different training regime. Well, they have. Probably got a good array of older players, a bit more of a different culture. Myler and them Cartwright can say, what's he only training 3 days a week, some massage, Monday. Alatiti famously at Leeds, a few of them, Willie Poe, used to get massage, went on to training. They'd be sat there. David Fafita, I never believed this from David Fafita. They used to say to me, Dave don't train a lot. I used to say, what do you mean he's best player in Super League? I went training once at Wakefield, and I was sat there with chairman and coach. And Dave never told me this, but Dave ran one of them, what's it called, what bike? But it wasn't like hammering it. He was watching lads train and he was going, Craig's there, we're waving and I'm looking and thinking, it's true, Big Dave, they were resting Big Dave's body, but then I was like, Dave, come on, son, a bit of power. And he was like, oh no, you don't, hey, be careful. And he just never thinks, so I think that's just horses for courses, Hull FC will be catering for that player. Cartwright's definitely said, don't worry, Watsy, you can come here. Works for both perfectly, doesn't it? Works for both. But I'll tell you one you have to ask, do you agree with this? Both of you, so I'm going to put it on you two. You look at Westy now, and do you think that Westy, would Westy suit this culture, or will he be the next one? Or will they say, do you know what, Westy, they're going for this. Would you be better off going home? Would you be better off, I know, we know Chesney's a massive fan of Westy, massive. Big mates as well. I look at that and I think, if Danny's made that president with his staff, I'll be honest with you, this is me being honest, me as a footballer at 34, I'm going to do a Watsy, I'm going. I'm sorry for Cass fans, sorry Danny, but I'm saying, I don't know if I fancy stood there 2.5 hours a day doing a wrestle and doing all the stuff that you don't want to do anymore. And I've had a lot of players, Mick, who coming to the end. You don't, I'll be honest with you, you don't want to be in there wrestling like a nutter at night. You don't, you've got to go. Eric Cantona got tread different at Man United, do you know what I mean? I'm sure Who's the famous player at Leeds? Jamie Peacock. JP is an animal of a bloke, but they reckon at the end, until Thursday, he come to life, do you get me? So there's going to be a bit of that. So it'll be interesting what happens in the future with that type of player at Cass, who's coming towards the end, and Brett and his staff are ready on a Monday with a wrestle class. I don't know. You might see that happen again. That's what I'm saying.
I like it. One in all, and there's no special dispensation for players. One for you, Joe, before we wrap things up with a very interesting one. When you look at, we've just mentioned reserves, but from a sort of close point of view to me, we'll use Sam Aykroyd at Bradford, who's had some championship games last year at Whitehaven. He's set, let's be honest, we've been reviewing Sam Aykroyd's games, and his performances have been really, really promising, really, really strong.
They said his game at the weekend were phenomenal against Hull FC. Bradford
beat Hull FC. And
Sam was the main man.
Yeah, and we know because of the quality and the depth that Bradford have, with the greatest respect to Sam, Joe Keys, Jordan Lilly, James Meadows, whilst Bradford's attack is very similar to Warrington's and Leeds, lacking fluency, consistency. Brian's confident it will come round 7, round 8. He's not in a position, I don't think, to be putting pressure, not just yet. So for Sam Aykroyd, and we're using this, Sam's, how old is he, Joe? 19, 18?
Well, depending on his birthday, probably 19.
19, so 18. He's one of these players who's coming out. He's
just come out of academy.
Yeah,
so.
Come out of the elite academy. And he's had a little bit of League One experience, a little bit of Championship experience last season. In my opinion, he's too good for that reserve competition. And I know no player's too good, but if Sam's going to have a chance of making it, he needs to be League One or Championship for mine. What do you want to happen for him, Joe? What do you know?
Obviously, in the perfect world, he loves Bradford. He's a Bradford fan. You'd love to see opportunity there. I think the tough part for someone like Sam, and there's players all around. There's probably 3 or 4 players at every club in very similar circumstances where they're probably the elite youth that, for whatever reason, can't get into the first team. Yeah, it's a tough one because you've got 2 options, haven't you? As we've discussed, you either stay and wait and hope that opportunity comes. And as we know in Super League and other time, 90% of the time of them young lads, it's because of injury.
Correct.
That's the opportunity. Sadly, you'd wish, to be fair to Sam Burgess, I think he cleared the way, let Drinkwater go for like Leon Hayes. So it does happen rarely, but most of the time. You know what I mean? If we can even go like Riley Lum, Mika Sivo's now out for the season. Riley's there, gone from being in one position where you're like, oh no, now he's playing every week and now he's third king. So you either wait and hope for a bit of luck.
Abdul's injury.
Yeah.
Mike Lewis. So you've either got to wait and hope for luck, or you've got. I think you've butt dialed someone. That sounded like a phone call. Yeah, you have. You're ringing Steve.
Craig sat on the phone ringing Steve Mills again. Sorry, Steve. There's not another deal on.
So yeah, tough Mick. I think Sam in the next probably year. Obviously, he signed a 1 year, but to leave, he'd need. He's still at the age where the
compensation.
So he's probably got a choice, hasn't he? He's either pushes for that and hopes a club pays compensation, or he buys his time. And Brian, I think the answer comes from Brian Noble on your answer on Sam and young players throughout the sport. Let's not make it about Sam because Sam's not going anywhere. But I think as the sport, young players, you need that from your coach. And I think if young players don't have the right answer for the coach, if an injury happens during, then you can wait because then, I know it sounds bad, but it is just the nature of the beast. You are kind of open for an injury or bad form to get your chance.
Sam to get a chance this year, realistically, I know it's highly unlikely. You'd need Jordan Lilly, Joe Keys, to be missing.
Right, Lum, it's not just about like these young players when you see them and they go missing. Most time it's not because they're playing bad, it's just because coaches do love older players. It's just a thing in our sport that very rarely a coach gives the younger player a chance.
Well, I think the average half in the UK is about 29. So
29, so that's the upsetting part. The good part is when they do get the chance, a lot of them take it, Mick. So I think throughout the sport, there's a young player there's been a hole. I said 2 or 3 years ago. I think they were the least amount of debuts in young players than there was. It's slowly changing now, but as naturally, Championship clubs ring up. Where are all the players? Well, a lot of them sadly didn't get a chance for 2 or 3 years, especially them COVID years. So there is a lack of young from 24 downwards. There's a lack of players, Mick. And I think the sport's slowly again reacting to that, and now young players are now getting chances at a bit of a higher rate. But there has to, I think I'd love it to change, but that also comes from, I'll tell the fans, that also comes from the fans. Bradford fans do like young players, but then they also like an older signing, a big name, don't they? So there's the mix of both. If you look at Warrington, love that big name. Then Sam Burgess, to be fair, is changing that, but I think the fans have to be okay with maybe, we used a good example there with Lewis Roberts, maybe 1 or 2 lesser performances, but they should be. They're young players, they're on a tiny wage compared to the goal. I think they have to be okay with 1 or 2 ones to hope that they develop over time, get the games in and play well. I think that's just a sport, fan-wide, culture-wide issue that needs answering.
And I'll challenge this year I'll challenge the compensation rule. I'll go for it head first.
Yeah.
Because if you do not allow that kid to move because the kid can't get his wage offer plus the compensation, so 85% of the clubs will say, we'll offer the kid 20 grand a year, but we can't pay 35 grand compensation. There's no deal. That kid then has to go back. If the new deal of the existing club is not above 25%, that's what I'll try and push for this year, and I'm going for you on this one, is it should not be legal. You can't offer £5 more. You cannot work for Tesco's and Sainsbury's come for you. Listen, I've said this for 20 years. Whoever challenged it will win. It's a restraint of earnings. Solicitors would chew it up in 2 minutes. You can't have a kid on 15,000 quid and offer him 16,000, which kicks compensation in. The compensation then does not allow the kid to move, so it's sat somewhere. And this is good for the full UK. I've had 50 of these. I've had it where parents have paid the kid out. They paid the club 20,000 quid famously to get the baby out, to get their lad out where he's unhappy, and they had to pay it. Do the clubs need rewarding for developing a player? Me and you did this years ago. I don't know what some clubs are on about. We did it before where you've got an amateur club who's had 8 years who don't get a penny until me and Mick brought it all up and started getting paid.
We did
it live and we got thousands of pounds that were paid to
community clubs. I remember the community clubs saying,
yeah, you've got a kid who's 8 year developed at a club. He goes to a Super League club. What, and has 2 years, and they say, we want 30 grand, whatever grand. Who do you think's developed that kid? I think a lot of times the amateur club have developed it. If you're going to get compensation, give it to the amateur club. I think it's a very... If a player goes at 14, to a club, and he's a top player, and Wigan, Warrington come and poach a Leeds Rhino player, there's got to be compensation. 100%, because that kid's probably going to Wigan for 4 times more than he's on, so they deserve to pay the compensation. Right. When it's 25, 50% of the time, it stops the kid from moving, Mick. Do people understand that? It's a shocking rule.
Because the host club wants the compensation and they're not willing to pay a wage increase and that compensation,
Yeah, and so what the kid does then is he's left in no man's land, which happens. We've known kids go to Queensland Cup because the compensation rule that's not affected. Or they've gone and packed in for a year and come back.
Packed in, I think a couple of years ago, the Wakey lads went to France, didn't they, to avoid the compensation rule for a year and come back. They both ended up back at Wakey, I think, once the regime changed a bit. But it's happened loads,
I'm hoping, Craig, when you have your agents meeting with the RFL, or I presume with Simon Johnson going, this new version of the RFL...
Well, it'll be Nigel Wood, won't it?
If Nigel Wood is chosen. And just a final one to finish on. I'm not sure if this is out there, but this would really surprise me. But Dejan Sambo and Johnny Vaughan, 2 bright, hot young prospects at St Helens. I've seen them play for Saints in the academy. And oh boy, if it's true that Saints have lost these to Wigan, their fierce neighbours and rivals, then wow, has someone been asleep at St Helens? Dejan Sambo and Johnny Vaughan, St Helens to Wigan, that's what we're hearing.
I'll say this quick. We can't say whether that's true or not. We're not allowed. What I will say is, as long as the clubs got offered first, so as long as Saints got offered, it's the name of the game. Unfortunately, it's the name of the game. If you get offered to sign that player and the club you offer do not offer what we consider the right deal or the right money, we're allowed to deal with players 12 months before now, December the 1st. If you go without asking the club, and I've never done it.
That's wrong. Yeah.
For me, it's a total disregard of respect.
Yes.
And I would say, a famous agent once said to me, unless you're banned from the ground at least once every 5 years, you're not doing your job. I think you'd be banned from the ground. If I went and said, oh, by the way, I've took you 2 players, thanks for that. And the CEO, we've only got so many clubs to deal with, Mick. So if CEO comes to you, Joe's got to learn this. If he comes to you and he goes, Joe, I'd like to talk to you about this player, and you go. So that phone call we've had, that's a brilliant one. Neil Chenm's out of contract. If I'd have said to Steve then, oh no, he signed.
Because Warrington saw him play well yesterday, and Sam's come in, Craig, I want to sign Chenm. Yeah, I get it.
Get it? And he goes, and Steve goes to me, but you've not even listened to me. And I go, sorry, son. Then for me, you're on sticky grounds and thinking, if they've done it in the right manner, so what? That's life, that's business.
Are these your players?
No.
So Dejan, Sambo, Johnny Vaughan.
Yeah.
If what I've read and heard on social media, so what you're kind of alluding to, Saints would have gone to them first.
The agent has to.
Yeah, Saints will have gone first. Wigan, quite clearly, if this is true,
legally allowed to talk to them.
Have come in probably with more money and a better opportunity, which obviously, from a St Helens point of view, if you're a Saints fan, you're losing 2 of your crown jewels to your fierce rivals who, Sambo and Vaughan, who knows, 5-6 years' time when we're still doing this show, we could be like, oh, do you remember a few years ago when we did Inside the Deal?
The problem is, I suppose Mike Rush would have to say to the people, and Derek will be hurt more than Mike. Do you understand that? Derek Trainer brings them up from 14.
Yeah.
He would have been close with them kids. And then he has to sit there and think, they want to leave. Why did they want to leave? So was the opportunity good enough at Saints? Did they have the cap space? Did they have the opportunity? What Joe's been using, that word opportunity. If all them things Anton Wigan have said, by the way, we haven't got a back rower, a young one. We haven't got. My other argument would be, if I was at Wigan and I was in that position, I'd be fucking fuming. I'd get a phone call by now. If that were me. If that's true, do you get me? Mate, they just signed a player in my position at 18, 19-year-old. You'd be like, they usually sign the players in the areas that they're weak on. Do you get me?
Yes. So might be, it'll come from the top. This is what we need in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, and by the way, that's brilliant. This is what all this should be. Why would there be animosity about Listen, it's not like the olden days when famously Wigan. St Helens took Sean Long from Wigan.
Yes, correct.
Bobby Golding went from Saints to Wigan, or the other way around.
Other way around.
Other way around.
Yeah.
So when you've gone in and you've poached that player, I think this new ruling allows that to happen. As long as the agents have given the club fair game. This is an inside of the deal, a bit of a crack. I don't know if Joe's had it yet, so you can speak from a youngster's point of view on this. I've had it where they've told me to F off.
Who has?
The clubs, where, when this type of things happen and the pressure they put on you is shocking sometimes.
When your players have signed for somewhere else?
Yeah, but you've given them a fair crack, but they're worried. They're worried that the fans are going to lynch them because they've missed the boat.
Yes.
They've not offered the right money. They've tried to lowball it.
Well, that's not on the agent or the players, it's on the club.
But the club's not going out. He's not going to put on his website, by the way, I fucked up.
Yeah, no.
I offered him shit money. Yeah. I offered him a shit deal. And by the way, I've also signed a player in his position, and he's probably not the game. Anyway, he's going to try and cover his ass by saying what he's done. I have had it loads of times when I've said to the club, that's your fault. Don't blame anybody. But then you guarantee greedy agent. You'll see that word, greedy agent. You go, fucking no chance. If you knew what... The famous one with me was Jack Walker. I thought Jack Walker was going to leave Leeds in that period. And he got called a greedy little so-and-so before the grand final. It was on £9,000. And I was saying, greedy. He's about to play for into 80,000 people and 2 million worldwide.
On $9,000.
On $9,000. And thinking, my mate said to me, you greedy bastard. $9,000 a week? I goes... Anyway, you know the score.
Yeah, I do know the score.
Yeah, he says, well, $9,000 a week. I said, no, it's per annum. Oh my God. Oh my God. And if you want to make a mockery in the sport, they're the things that could never happen in the sport ever again. That cannot happen. I've got one happening now. You're just thinking, if people knew what they're playing on, it'd be... We're on about small change in the product. Come on.
I must confess, when people ask me what certain players at championship level are on, and you tell them, they go, what? Is that per month? And I'm like, is it per month? Per annum? And they're like, you can probably earn more stacking shelves on a night shift at Tesco. No, seriously. I don't think
a lot of people doing that. There's a lot of people doing that.
Fans don't realise just,
Dan Pullman. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember Dan Pullman.
I remember Dan once saying, what am I doing another 2 years of this, or do I can get a job and got my own? He's got his own business now. He's probably earning 40, 50 grand a year. He was like, I'm not going to sit here for the next 5 years on chance of me doing that.
Well, that concludes this very special Inside the Deal Rumour Mill special. Look out, there'll be more, maybe in a couple of weeks' time when I either invent or discover some rumours under those rugby league stones and pebbles, who knows? But yeah, look, no hard feelings to anybody.
Can we do a bit of fun here? Me and Mick Sam might remember this, maybe 10 years ago we were in Yorkshire radio studio and we called something called The Scoop. And Mick pretended there was a guy called The Scoop. And Mick said, have we got The Scoop on today? And The Scoop had produced some crackers. Well, The Scoop were me and Mick. Mick can say, I've got The Scoop on, and this week's is this. Well, we should have kept The Scoop. We're brilliant because we're probably having some good fun with it. And then people start to say, who's The Scoop? And that's we were a bit too honest to keep it.
I think we might bring The Scoop back. But the thing is, they'll know it's us. So yes, rugby league fans, if you're still watching, have a look on social media. There might be a Facebook page. I think Scoop, Mowell.
What is The Scoop?
A fly.
The Scoop, what it?
It'll be the Rugby League fly. The Rugby League fly flies into all these board meetings where no one else can. So yes, look out for the fly. But no, thank you for your support. Subscribe, comment, show us some love. We're back.